My name is Abby, and I've been, looking at a lot of bipolar stuff online, and there's really not a ton of it, so I thought I'd make my own video because I am bipolar, and I've been off my meds for about 3 weeks now, and I felt a drastic change as soon as I started getting off of them, and it's, it's hard. People ask, what it's like to be bipolar sometimes, and it's hell, mostly. I'm bipolar 2, which means that I get, hypomania and a lot of depression. I also have anxiety and panic attacks. I had a panic attack about a week ago. It was really bad. When I have panic attacks, I shake, and I cry a lot, and I throw up, and it's been a really tough year, but I'm getting through it. you know, um, right now I'm kind of a low, and I, I don't know, because, what happens is that you get so used to your medicine, and it kind of works, but you doubt yourself, because, bipolar is just a lot of self-doubt, and, my parents don't really understand it at all. They don't understand why I need to be on medicine. They think I'm overreacting, or I just want attention. And so, you start believing that yourself. You're like, oh, I'm making this up. I'm not actually bipolar. I don't need to take my medicine. And so, it's just like, forget that. I stopped taking my medicine, and as soon as I did, I felt drastic changes and mood swings, and you just feel like, you should be able to control this. You can do this, but it's physical, and it's really hard to do. Like, when I get, on a low or depressive, I physically can't get out of bed some days. I mean, my entire body feels heavy. I'm tired. I just cry for no reason. I think about sad things, and I can't help it. And I tell myself, Abby, think positive, think positive, think positive. But I feel sad, and it's just like a heavy weight on my shoulders. I haven't really slept in a couple weeks, which is really bad. But I just been staying up all night, just lonely and sad. And I know it's unreasonable. Like, I tell myself that it's unreasonable, but it's a feeling, and it's really hard to overcome it. And then when I feel up, the main thing I think when I feel up is that I feel a little lightheaded, I think, and my heart races, and I feel jittery, and I just have so much energy. It's like just being hyper all the time, and you have to constantly be doing something. And I have this habit of running around my house. I play music, and I like to dance to the music, and I can just feel the music, and I need to dance with it. I will spin around in a chair for an hour, straight an hour, just spin around. I love to get dizzy when I'm on a high. But it's hard to think about it because I'm so low right now. I just, like, thinking about getting so hyper exhausts me. But, I've just been kind of sad lately, and I don't know. It's just hard. It's all in your head, almost. And if people say, just get over it, and you just can't get over it. And that's the hardest part, I think, is that nobody understands, and it's just your own personal hell that you can't get out of. I have a history of cutting myself, and bulimia. I make myself throw up, and that's always hard, because I don't do bulimia more because I hate how I am, because, I'm not, ashamed of eating or anything like that. It's more of it's more self-punishment that I don't think I deserve it, to be able to be full, and I just hate myself, really, is what happens when I do the bulimia. And I haven't done that in about 6 months, which is good. I've mostly been on my medicine, is why, and everyone I know, even my parents, think, oh, she's over that. But I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to do it anymore, but it's still, the feeling is always there. Like, if I just threw away my conscience, I know I would be doing it. And same with the cutting. I don't want to do it. Mostly because it hurts my mom's feelings when I cut myself. Like, she gets really sad and she hates that I do it and she cries. And I care more about her feelings than I do about making myself feel better, which is why I do it. It's because it really does make me feel better, which is something nobody really understands, because it sounds scary that, you want to hurt yourself. And it's been, I think, about a month since I last cut myself. And it's just hard because even though I know I'm not going to do it, I feel deep down, and this is probably just my disorder, but that I know it would make me feel better. And to be able to have something that would make you feel better, but you don't do it, is torture in and of itself. And you just feel conflicted, I guess. And it is really hard. And it's something you really can't control, where I have daydreams of hurting myself, where I just like, oh, that'd be so amazing. And then I'm like, stop. I can't do that. Stop, Abby. And it's just, I feel like I'm arguing with myself all the time. I also have a history of drug abuse, which is actually pretty common with bipolar, is what I've read online and such in books. And I can see why. You self-medicate. And I've learned, because I used to be, I didn't want to give them up at all. Because, they make you feel better. And why would you give up something that makes you feel better, was my main thinking for a long time. But then I realized, went worse and worse. My bipolar got worse. And I was in the hospital in, I want to say March. I don't remember the exact month, but it was definitely in the spring. And I was having horrible mood swings. And normally they come and go within weeks. But mine had started going within days, and it was crazy. I had no control over myself. I had no control over my body. And you do coping mechanisms, like what I think you do. And I would get so hyper that the only way I could calm myself down was to jump up and down and to constantly doing something. I had to keep talking, and I had to keep talking. And then when I got low, I felt horrible, and I would go between the cycles so quick, it exhausted me. I was just exhausted mentally and physically. And I started doing, cutting drugs and all that, like, a lot. And the more and more I did it, the less and less it helped, I think. And I got so crazy, I had a panic attack in the middle of school. I know, it's actually really embarrassing. And I just started shaking, crying, and throwing up. And then I started cutting myself in the girls' bathroom. And I had never told anyone about the cutting, which is the main thing. I had been caught before with drugs and alcohol and things like that, but I had never told anyone about the cutting. And I hid it pretty well. Although people are kind of stupid about it. And I know I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible, but people would see the scars sometimes and then just make up an excuse that was, ridiculous. Like, I would never have believed this if someone told me that. And they were, oh, okay. And just no one suspects it, especially since, I'm not known for being crazy, I feel like I'm a pretty normal person. I just have something wrong with my brain. It just doesn't work right, and it's hard, but I try to hide it the most I can. I like to, be by myself because of it. I think I protect people from my disorder. But I was crying in the bathroom, hearing myself, and my friend Scarlett asked me if I was okay, because she knew about the panic attacks, that I do have them. I have anxiety. And I told her about the cutting, and she flipped. I mean, she was nice about it, but she took me to the counselor, and I was like, I'm not getting help, this is ridiculous. And I was like, can I please just sit in here? I just can't go to class right now. I will probably burst into tears and, just lay on the ground is what would happen. And I knew it was going to be embarrassing, but I physically couldn't help it. I would lay down on the ground. I knew I would. And so she said, yeah, you can sit in here for a little bit. And I started crying and shaking so badly that she wanted to take me to the hospital. And I said, no, I'm not sick. I'm just emotional. I'm an emotional person. I'm just having a bad day, and I feel like crying for no reason. And I knew it wasn't really normal, that I was probably a little messed up, but I didn't think I had a disorder, because the word disorder is kind of scary, I guess. And she took me to the hospital, and my panic attack went off the roof, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a hospital. And I was throwing up everywhere, and they called my mom, and it was scary, but they were really nice. And I went to a mental health facility, and they were just really nice, and I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And things were going pretty well for a while. I was seeing a counselor, I was on the medicine, and I liked my medicine. I kept upping it every few weeks because I just wanted more and more, because I liked the way it made me feel. And finally I got to a good point where I said, okay, we can stop the dosage, like I like it where it is, and I was doing really well. And my moods were almost gone. Like, I could kind of feel them, but that voice inside your head that says, you're being retarded, Abby, calm down, is more powering than it used to be, and the medicine really helped. And then I think I got so used to being on the medicine that I, went off of it, because I thought, I can control this. Like, it's on my head. I just overreact. I am sensitive to things, and that's why I cry all the time. And, my parents would say I'm doing it for attention, that I could control it. And you really start to believe that when people tell you that. So, I've been off my medicine, and it's been crazy. I actually ran away from home 2 weeks, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I felt horrible. And, lonely, even though I'm not really lonely, or, well, I shouldn't be lonely, is what I'm saying, is that I know deep down I shouldn't be lonely, but it's just this aching in the heart that just makes you feel really lonely. And I wanted to get, and I felt claustrophobic. I had to get out of the house. I had to get out of the house now. And I started having a panic attack. So I got out of the house. I, walked to the near park, and then my mom called me about an hour later, and I was sitting on the ground, and I was actually smoking. And, she was like, where are you? You need to come home right now. And she was yelling at me, and that scared me. And I overreacted, I guess, but at the time it felt very real to me. I thought, oh my god, my mom's gonna hate me. She's gonna kill me, And I was like, I can't go home. I can't go home. I can't go home. If I go home, I'm just gonna cry. I need to be alone. And she didn't understand. She just, continued to yell at me, telling me to come home now. And I refused to come home. And then I eventually fell asleep at a friend's house. They let me sit there, and mostly when I'm having a panic attack, I like to be alone. I also have a thing about touching. I don't know why, but I develop a fear of people touching me when I'm having panic attacks. I'm not sure if that's normal, but I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be comforted, is the thing. I don't feel like people relate to me, so I don't want them to relate to me. I don't want them to feel bad for me. And if they do touch me, I usually retaliate in anger, and I always feel really guilty about it, and it actually makes me feel worse about myself. But I will get angry if you touch me while I'm having a panic attack. But my friend let me sleep at her house, and I called myself out. I woke up next morning, and I felt, completely fine. So I called my mom, I apologized, she let me come home, and I was like, I don't know what that was. I was crazy. I don't know why I felt that way at all. And so I was like, well, that was just me having a panic attack, I guess. My brain doesn't work right, and it's not, I can still do without my medicine. And then I hit a low, and I felt horrible. I couldn't get out of bed. I was late for work like 2 days in a row because I overslept, and I wouldn't mean to. I'd set my alarm. I'd sleep through my alarm. I would fall asleep in the middle of work. I just felt exhausted. I felt like crying all the time. I was mad at people all the time. I didn't even have enough energy to open my mouth, and it's just really sad all the time. It's the best way I can explain it. It's more of a physical feeling than anything else. And it felt so bad that, my suicidal thoughts came back. And I even thought about maybe going back to the hospital because I knew that helped me last time. But I didn't, and I mostly just waited it out and, cried a lot. And I had a lot of arguments with my parents. And I didn't care about anything. Like, I would, you go out with friends and, oh, I'm breaking curfew. Well, who cares? you know, whatever, what's the worst that can happen, um, better off dead anyways, kind of thing. And it's just not a path that I would ever recommend. And then I got up again, and I was motivated, and I wanted to work, I wanted to work, I wanted to work. And I'm doing online school now, and because I have so a lot of trouble in school, I skipped a lot of school just because my moods. Either I was too sad to go to school, or I was way too happy to go to school. I had way too much energy. Either way, I just didn't care about school. And I want to do well in school. I wish I could. So this year, I decided to do online school, and I started having, you know, hypomania right before school started. And I wanted to work. I wanted to work now. I wanted to do all my schoolwork. And it was making me angry almost that I couldn't do it because I didn't have classes online. And so I kept calling teachers. I emailed her like an angry email like, I want to start my classes. Why haven't they started yet? And eventually, you know, my classes went online, and I did an entire week's worth of work in about a day, and I just couldn't stop. And, you know, I cleaned the house, I did dishes, and I still couldn't stop. So, and you know, I was exhausted. It's not healthy. People were like, wow, you did all this work, but it's really not healthy to be able to do all that. And I still haven't really slept in about 3 weeks. It's 3 o'clock in the morning right now. And, you know, 2:30, but I just, you know, it's just so up and down, and I think the up and downs are what's more exhausting than anything else. And today, you know, it started out a pretty good day, but then, you know, I started feeling sad all throughout the day, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being sad, but it wasn't too bad. So I, you know, pushed it aside, went to work, got off with friends, and I felt bad being with my friends because I was kind of a party pooper. I didn't want to talk, I didn't want to hang out really, I just wanted to sit there and be alone. But you know, I pushed through it. It wasn't too bad, and you know, I was able to hang out with my friends a little bit. And I just felt empty inside is the best way I can feel it. Like I couldn't even feel my heartbeat anymore, and I needed something, so I started smoking cigarettes for a little bit. And I came home, and the depression just got way worse, and I was sitting outside, and I just started crying for no reason. And I say no reason, but and it is true, like when I first start, it's for no reason, but I start thinking about sad things, and I have really bad self-talk. I had a counselor tell me that once, where everyone talks to themselves, but when I do it, it's very insulting to myself. And I start talking to myself while I'm crying, and it makes me cry harder because I think I'm such a failure, and, you know, I'm such a horrible person. And I was outside, and all of a sudden, I had an urge to hurt myself again, which, you know, isn't uncommon for me because I feel like I always could do it. I just can always control the urge. I really couldn't, and I started getting very anxious, and I started having panic attack, like, I can't do this. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be able to control it. And if I do it, my mom's going to hate me. And I just, you know, went on a rant in my head about how I'm a horrible person, and I started flipping out that I was going to do something. And I ended up throwing up. I didn't make myself, actually, but from the anxiety, I get an upset stomach. And after I threw up, you know, I started calming down, dry heaving a lot. And you know, I just got really tired, so I laid down, and I couldn't sleep, but I couldn't open my eyes. I was so tired. And then all of a sudden I woke up, and you know, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was hungry, and I had to eat, and I had to eat, and I had to eat, and I went through our entire fridge. And then I started hating myself for eating so much, and I almost made myself throw up, but I didn't. And, you know, I just stay on the floor, and it's just like, I'm crazy. I don't deserve to have anyone near me. I'm glad no one can see the side of me. But then that makes you feel lonely because, you know, no one's with you. And I do have a boyfriend, and I do have a loving family, and but they still don't really understand. Even my boyfriend I told him I was off my meds for about 3 weeks, and I asked if I should get back on, and he said, nah, I like who you are. And, you know, that statement kind of confounded me because I do like who I am, but I don't have control over things I do. And I want to be in control. I'm actually a little bit of a control freak, and I wish I was in control, and it frustrates me that I have no control over my body most days. And it's hard. It's the big thing, and I don't know how I can stress that enough. It actually is making me feel a lot better talking about this, even though I'm talking to myself in a camera. I actually feel a lot better because I was throwing up earlier, and I was having a panic attack a little. It wasn't extreme because I have extreme panic attacks, but I was having a small panic attack, and I was very low. And even right now, I wish I could go to sleep. I just can't sleep. My brain is just on. I can't turn it off, and I keep thinking and thinking horrible thoughts. And I was looking online trying to find some comfort that says, I'm normal and I'm okay, because it makes you feel not normal, because you watch people do everyday lives and they're fine, and you're at work sitting in the bathroom taking your bathroom break, just sitting there going, you can do it, you can stand up, you can stand up, you can stand up, and you feel like no one else has to go through that, and it is very lonely. And I hope that from this video I can share my experience with people and maybe get a response how other people feel. I have gone a month without using drugs and or alcohol. It's been about a month. About 6 months since I last made myself throw up, and about 4 months since I last cut myself. So I am very proud of myself, and I do want to do well in school this year. And this is probably the most motivated I've ever been, because I started being bipolar. I don't know if I was bipolar my entire life, but I started having these mood swings in about 8th grade. And 8th grade, I went into an insane depressive state. And I was a pretty good student up until then. And I started failing all my courses. I didn't do any work. I started being mean to my teachers. I, started back-talking, cussing in class all the time. I got a lot of detentions. I called my gym teacher a really bad name once, and I got a lot of trouble for it. And I just had so much anger and so much sadness in me that, it was just a really bad year. And I was very suicidal, and I dreamt about it all the time, and I would plan dying, and I never actually did it, though, which is good. And then freshman year, I woke up. The best way I can explain transitioning moods is waking up. You wake up, and all of a sudden, the world is clear, and you can see, and everything's going fast, and you just have so much energy. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm so excited for high school. I don't want to be a loser anymore. I'm going to be amazing. And, I started high school, and I exhausted myself within the first semester, and then I started getting depressive again. And the depressive state lasted, maybe 4 or 5 months. And then that's really when I started cutting myself, and believing it was that depressive was horrible, because I thought, going back to where I was in 8th grade, I was a total loser in 8th grade, and I'm going to be a loser again, and it made the whole depressive state so much worse. And then I, woke up and had a lot of fun over the summer, but I partied a lot, which is horrible, actually, because I learned through some counseling that even though drugs and alcohol make you feel better temporarily, it worsens your condition in the long run. And it made my moods greater, and it made my moods longer, and I had, anger issues. I would go so depressive, and then I would grow so hyper, I would do stupid things, and, I would they had a sunroof in a car once, and I stood on top. I got almost my entire body out, and I thought, this is fun. I'm just having fun. I'm living up life. I don't really care if I die, kind of thing is how I get when I'm in the hypomania. And then I started going up and down, and it started getting closer and closer together. And the more that happened, the more drug use I had, the more bad behaviors I had. The cutting and stuff. It was a coping mechanism to make myself feel better. And it worsened the condition, and eventually it got, so bad that I couldn't function in any day life. I almost quit my job. I was horrible to be around. I couldn't do schoolwork. I couldn't even go to school most days. And it was kind of embarrassing. And and I'm glad I did get help, even though going to hospital was a little embarrassing. I am going to go back on my medicine. I just, I have to go, I have to make a doctor's appointment to see the doctor again to get more medicine. And it is hard because even with the medicine, I have to control myself. Like, I am constantly having a fear of not being able to control myself. And it's just exhausting is the main thing. You know, I wish I understood it a little more, but I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. When I'm depressive, I lock myself in my room. I'll take a bunch of melatonin, which helps you sleep, and sleep through days because I just don't want to live. I just don't want to be there for life, so I sleep. And then when I'm in the hyper mood, people don't even want to be around me. I'm just so higher than everyone else. People annoy me. I get angry. They don't understand me. And it's just, the whole thing is just exhausting. But I hope this helps with everything. If you're bipolar, I hope you can share your story with me, or just, I wanted to get my story out there because it does make, I'm doing this more for myself. It makes me feel better. Most of the stuff I have never told anybody because I told a couple close friends, and I'm starting to get out of my comfort zone and tell more and more people, and I'm trying to because I feel like that'll make me feel less lonely, but it is really hard, and most of the time when I tell someone, I'm like having a heart attack. But yeah, this is the end of the video, I guess. Thank you for watching.